Okay, 9:30 Wednesday night. Uh, I'm going to try two things. One person, and both people were right. One says I mumble, which I do. I got lousy teeth and always mumble. I don't know why. And the other is saying that I'm always looking down. Well, it's probably my double chin pulling my head down. But I'll try. I'll make an effort to correct those if possible. Now, what I want to talk to you about tonight, and it's it's about the news. Now, a couple of weeks ago, maybe only 10 days ago, there was a pipeline burst in a very exclusive community in Arkansas. It was Exxon uh, Mobil pipeline, and thousands and thousands of gallons of this muck, because it was a very thick, gooey type of petroleum that actually doesn't float, so it sinks to the bottom of water and makes for a terrible cleanup. And if anybody saw, it was in the nightly news one night only. If they saw the mess this made, and it was still bubbling like crazy at the time, but that's the last we ever heard of it. And here's why: that there is a local that the group that's preventing, well, group, it's the local police and everybody else that's preventing anyone from coming in the area, and they say, well, it's because of the fumes and it's because of everything else, but yet they have people, Exxon has people in there cleaning up, and of all things they're just using like paper towels to clean up this crap, and they'll be forever, and this neighborhood is ruined forever. But the other thing is that you never heard of it again. And you think, well, why didn't we get some aerial view? And I'll tell you why. Because ExxonMobil asked the Federal Aviation Administration to make this a no-fly zone, and they adhered to the request by Exxon, and it was a no-fly zone. So you can't get a helicopter in there, a news helicopter. You can't do it because the government won't let you. Now, how does that match up with the First Amendment? The government won't permit you to fly in there and to show what the devastation in this very upclass neighborhood. And I was not happy to ever see a pipeline burst, but if one's going to burst, then let it get the elite, and get some of them babies on our side. But the overall question is, why wouldn't the government want you to fly over and get some pictures of this? Because Exxon and these other giant oil companies, they want you to think that they're green, that they're earth friendly, that they're going to put up some windmills for you, yada, yada, yada. And they don't want anything bad to influence the decision on this Keystone pipeline. Now, we're still up in the air on what Obama's going to do with this Keystone pipeline. I personally think that he's going to cave in and he's going to allow it. This would be a terrible mistake because, as I've said before, and being I have a whole lot of new viewers, and I'm very thankful for, uh, that the not a drop of that oil that's coming down from Canada, this sand oil, would go to reduce the dependency of America on foreign oil. They would pipe it down, refine it in Houston, and ship it to Europe to be used in as a low grade in diesel automobiles. And because we hardly have any diesel automobiles, this isn't for heavy duty diesels, this is for automobile motors, that because we have such a sparsity of them here, that it will all be shipped overseas. Now, why would they ship it overseas? What's the advantage there? Because the refineries are going to make billions of dollars refining this. The oil sand people are going to make billions of dollars selling it, and none of them, because it's a foreign sale, will ever pay a nickel of taxes to the U.S. government. But yet, the U.S. government and every community, every county, every city, every jurisdiction that this goes through, it will cross 20,000 creeks and rivers. And these people build these things as cheaply as they can and have as few valves along there as they can. So they're not going to put in 20,000 valves one before every creek and river. We found that out with the same people that are proposing this pipeline, run pipelines all through Canada. And about well, honestly, 6 months ago maybe, there was a major burst in one of their pipelines in Canada, and several communities down river from that burst have to have their water to this day brought in by trucks. Now, they don't want you to hear that. And the national news, they're not fighting to get a report on what's going on with this cleanup. They are told what to report, what not to report. I was surprised they even reported there was a break, but it must have slipped out somehow because it was on the national news one night. So then where in the world did I hear the follow-up? And here's where it gets really crazy. From Jon Stewart. You get more truthful news from Jon Stewart making fun about the news than you do on ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, or Fox. It's impossible to get the truth out of any of them because they're bought and sold by their advertisers and they're bought and sold by shareholders. So that we're in a terrible dilemma here in this country. We're going downhill just quick as shit. Here, the last job report was 88,000 when they expected 200,000 new jobs to be created, and they only got 88,000. But yet the unemployment rate went down. Well, why is that? Because so many of these people just gave up looking. So once you give up looking, you're not counted in the unemployed. I don't know what the hell you're supposed to be counted in, but you're not no longer counted in the unemployed. So that we're in some pretty deep crap here, and doesn't seem to be any immediate solution to the problem. And certainly the problem is exasperated by giving the banks all this money to play with, $80 billion a month. Now we had QE1, QE2, we're into QE3, and we might go on ad infinitum because Bernanke wants to keep the interest rates low as long as unemployment is low. Well, they haven't done keeping interest rates haven't done anything but hurt the people that have retirement accounts, people that were dependent on earning interest, earning dividends. They're screwed. The big companies are sitting on $2 trillion. We talked about that in the last rant. $2 trillion, and they're not giving it to the shareholders. They're not spending it. And because of the productivity is so high in this country and it increases, they need less and less workers. And they're certainly not going to, even if they expand some their output, they're not going to expand the amount of people that they have employed. So we're really in a dilemma here, and we're in a worldwide dilemma with these banks. If instead of bailing out these banks originally, if we had given every American, say earning under 30,000 a year, if we'd have given him half of the equivalent that we gave that banks, that money would have all gone into the society. It would have created a tremendous consumer demand for all different kinds of products that people now, if their washing machine breaks down, maybe they can't afford to get one. So they go to the laundry, you know. But if these people had been given the checks broken down, say it come to a couple $1,000 a head, rather than giving billions and billions to the banks that turn around and did nothing but buy treasuries with them, they didn't put that money back into the economy, that this country would have had a good chance of coming out of the recession. Now they say, oh no, we're not in a recession. We made 0.3% increase in our gross domestic product, but all that product was paperwork on Wall Street. It wasn't jobs. It was granting bigger and bigger bonuses to fewer and fewer people. So I think that there has to be a tremendous amount of pressure from grassroots people to keep this Keystone pipeline from going through. Why should we assume all the risk of all these communities, these counties, these states, and these cities, so that the Canadians and Exxon and a few other big guys can make a lot of money and the United States see no taxes and see no job increases?